Hey, if you're running a business that uses OpenAI's tools, you're going to want to hear this, because OpenAI just dropped some updates that could seriously change how you manage your AI spending and understand exactly where your money is going. So let's talk about what's actually happening here. OpenAI has rolled out brand new usage analytics and updated spend controls specifically designed for enterprise customers. And look, this might sound like boring back-end stuff at first, but stick with me, because if you're a business leader, a CFO, or even a developer trying to justify your AI budget to your bosses, this is genuinely exciting news. Let's start with the usage analytics side of things. One of the biggest complaints from enterprise customers over the past couple of years has been that it's really hard to get a clear picture of how their teams are actually using OpenAI's products. You've got different departments, different teams, potentially thousands of employees all tapping into ChatGPT or the API, and previously, getting granular visibility into all of that was a bit of a nightmare. OpenAI is now addressing that head-on. The new analytics dashboards give organizations a much more detailed breakdown of usage patterns, showing which teams are using what, how frequently, and at what scale. This means decision makers can finally see the full picture without having to piece together data from multiple sources or rely on rough estimates. And that transparency is huge. Think about it from a business perspective. When you're spending potentially tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars on AI tools, you need to know that investment is actually being used effectively across your organization. Are certain departments over-relying on it? Are others barely touching it? That kind of insight helps companies optimize their AI strategy rather than just throwing money at something and hoping for the best. Now let's get into the spend controls, because this is where it gets really interesting for budget-conscious organizations. OpenAI has updated the controls that allow enterprises to set more precise limits on how much can be spent across different teams or projects. So instead of having one big blanket budget for the entire company, you can now get much more granular. You could set specific spending caps for individual departments, specific use cases, or even particular projects. This gives finance teams and operations managers way more control over their AI expenditure without having to constantly monitor things manually. This is also a trust-building move from OpenAI, and it's a smart one. Enterprise adoption of AI has sometimes been slowed down because companies are nervous about runaway costs. You've probably heard stories of unexpected API bills ballooning out of control when usage spikes unexpectedly. By giving companies tighter, more customizable controls, OpenAI is essentially telling enterprise customers, hey, we hear you, and we're making this easier to manage responsibly. There's also a broader strategic angle worth thinking about here. OpenAI is in a fiercely competitive market right now. Google, Anthropic, Microsoft, Amazon, they're all fighting hard for enterprise contracts. And one of the things that enterprise buyers care deeply about is governance, cost predictability, and accountability. By rolling out these kinds of administrative and financial tools, OpenAI is basically leveling up its enterprise readiness and signaling that it's not just a cool tech toy, it's a serious business platform that can operate within the kind of structured environments that large organizations require. For smaller businesses and startups, keep watching this space too, because features like these tend to trickle down over time and could eventually be available at lower tiers. So here's the question I'll leave you with. Now that AI companies are finally giving businesses the financial controls and transparency they've been asking for, is there really any excuse left for not having a proper AI governance strategy in place at your organization?